Here we go, we have the model built, as you can see. Let me just lift this up. Now, the astute among you, those who have built one yourself, will notice my deliberate mistake, or sorry, deliberate deviation from the instructions. I went ahead and I was totally on autopilot and built the burning exhausts. I just think they look cool. I might paint them as smoke or something, but they would stop the turret from actually rotating. In the instructions, it clearly shows you this is my fault, entirely my fault, as one would expect. So you can see in the instructions, it clearly shows you, tells you to use the B sprue. So the B is the Castigator specific sprue. Clearly shows you to use the one without fire. I'll show you that now. So they are these ones here, as you can see. Yes, well, I was completely on autopilot and just went ahead and built those ones and was not thinking at all. But oh well, it's no big deal. So that's pretty much the only gotcha when you're building this. So as you can see, I have not magnetized it yet. I have not, if we just pop her out so we don't break her. No, it needs a bit more glue. I have not glued the turret together. So we do have, come out, there we go. We've got our little blocks. I suppose before we begin, I'll tell you what you need for this magnetization. You're going to need a 1mm, a 2mm and a 3mm drill bit. You're going to need something you can use to glue the magnets flush to surfaces. I like the Citadel mold line remover tool. You could quite easily use a craft knife, but it does have a sharp blade. You run the risk of cutting yourself. Not a high risk, but just if you haven't got one of these are really useful. I use it more for magnetizing than mold line removal now, but anyway. So you build your turret up. You just don't glue the bottom to the top, right? Everything else you can glue up. You see I've got the little, I don't even know what these are. These like shrines, whatever the hell, the little mini church thing at their altar, maybe? I don't know. They're crazy, the sisters. Love them. So what we're going to do is B5 and B6. We're going to put a magnet inside those and then cut the peg off these two guns and glue a magnet into that. That's all we're doing. Then we can glue the turret together with B5 and B6 in place and everything will just work. Now, something to be aware of. B5 and B6. When you put the magnets in, you need to be careful what orientation the magnets are, because this is why I'm going to do B5 and B6 first, then glue them in, just in case I mess up the orientation of the magnets, the polarity if you will. So I want it same side in, north and north, or whatever, south and south, whatever the way around it works out to be, but I want them like that. But we'll see when we get there. First things first is to take our B5 and B6, and I think I just need to bore these out to fit the magnet, because they're not quite 3mm. They're damn near. Actually, that one pretty much is 3mm. That didn't take anything. And again, with this one, just making sure, yep. As you can see, these are 3x2s. I've also got here 3x1s. But I'm going to go for the 3x2s for this, just to give it that extra sticking power. So, what we'll do, actually that probably doesn't even need glued, that's such a good fit. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother gluing this magnet, I'm just going to push it in. So that went that way. What you do want to make sure is that you get a flush. Now if I do need to glue it in, I can pop a little bit of glue in the back. But what I might just do while I'm here is take a 3mm, that one's dirty or something on it. Let's just stick it to a bit of metal somewhere so it's out of the way. So that'll need to go that way. So I'm just going to drop this in there and then give it a wee poke so it's flush. There we go. Now I'm fairly sure it doesn't matter which way around these blocks go, because you'll see there is on this one, if you see that side, it's almost got a little indentation. There's no matching thing on the unit, on the gun itself, so I don't think it matters whether it went in that way or that way, but I'm going to put it this way so it's nice and flush. So I want this side out, magnet out. Although that let me just check something. I may be getting this wrong. It actually only goes in one way. So it only goes in with the flush side out. Yeah, so it goes in either one flush side out, although there is a little indentation in that, which I have no idea what it's for, because again, there's nothing on the gun. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Now I'm not going to glue this into the gun until I'm happy that everything's working. So if that's that way around, then that will be that way around, which means I want this so if I do that, right, upside down, so I'm holding this in the same orientation as this one's in. So if I lift that, don't pull that out, you, no, stop it. Give it a little push. Pop that off. Flush it onto the table. This is nice to be able to do this in this little bit rather than having to do it in the thing itself. And just force that down. That gives me that and that. So that is my turret effectively complete. Now let's do a gun. Let's pick the main battle cannon. So to do this, we just clip our pegs off. And then I'm going to take a file and just make sure there's nothing too proud. We start off with a 1mm. Just try to get it as centered as possible. Next up, drilling the first hole is usually the trickiest. Then our 3mm. Now the trick to going from 2mm to 3mm is don't try to jam it in, especially with, you can see the length of the flutes on this compared to even the 2mm. You see these are nice and short, these are very long, which means it has a tendency to grab. So you can sort of put it in. See the way that more screws in now, so turning it the other way, going against the actual bit. Now we go into this side. So if you basically just turn it a little bit, so you're just taking maybe a millimeter of plastic off and then turn it back. And so I'm just going to take my knife to deburr this a little bit. So what we want to do now is just have a little look. I'm going to take a 3mm magnets and stick it onto that, right? So what that means is that our gun has to go in that way. So I know if I take that off and push that in there, right, and then the same thing should apply to the other side. Drop it in. Take that off and push that in there. Now I want to squeeze those in flat, and the tolerances I have in these magnets means that they don't even need glue. If you were to file the holes down, it would probably need glue. So now the test. This is the scary moment. We take our turret and our squeaky chair. Pop. There you go. Now it doesn't have, the way this turret is built, it doesn't even have the problem of barrel droop. If you remember the repulsor, I think it was the repulsor I did that had barrel droop. Might have been the Gladiator. Anyway, this one does not have it. All we need to do now is the other gun. And there you go. So that is how easy it is to magnetize the main gun on this tank. And if you want to magnetize that, you don't even need to. You just basically glue the sister up and see if you can find a rhino hatch from somewhere else. That's what I would do. In fact, that's what I am doing. And there's no side sponson weapons to magnetize, no front gun to magnetize. It's just the main gun. Pop. Anyway, I'm happy enough with that, so I'm going to go on and do some editing.